It's another edition of the Maze on ASO Television. Good to have you. I am ROSEMARYUKOKO-TEGA. A quick peep into today's package. Confirmation of service chiefs by Senate. Emergence of principal officers. Investigation into alleged JAMS UTME results manipulation by candidate. For details of this and the many motions on the floor of both Senate and the House, watch ASO Television live on DSTV channel 392, Star Times TV channel 127, Free TV channel 507, and the UHF band on channel 38.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we will realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite.
This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television DSTV Channel 392, Star Times Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 38.
You're watching The Maze on ASO Television. We go ahead. Starting off today from the floor of the Senate, one top proceeding was confirmation of appointment of all new service chiefs as recently made by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Each of the security heads within 2 minutes provided a brief self-introduction before the screening exercise, which later went into a prolonged closed-door session.
I will start by introducing my career of over 33 years in the service. I was enlisted into the Nigerian Navy in 1987 as a cadet of 39 regular course in the Nigerian Defense Academy. After my training at the NDA, I have attended several military and academic courses over the years, commensurate with my career. Mr. President, sir, I wish to state, sir, that if given the opportunity to serve as the Chief of Naval Staff, I will put in my best to be able to accomplish the standard. I fully understand the challenges of facing the Nigerian Navy. In line with our statutory roles, which is the defense of the nation's territorial integrity from the maritime domain, as well as the policing roles of protecting the nation's resources and contribution to military aid to civil power, I am fully prepared to carry out these roles. If given the chance, my mandate, my command philosophy as the Chief of Naval Staff, I will be committed to leading with integrity, courage, and relentless pursuit of excellence. I believe in the power of teamwork, discipline, and human capacity development. My goal is to ensure that every Nigerian Navy personnel and civilian staff is equipped, trained, and ready to execute our mission effectively. I expect all personnel to hold these high standards of professionalism, ethics, and respect for human rights. Together, if given the chance, we will work to fulfill our mission, achieve our vision, and uphold the honor and tradition of the Nigerian Navy. I thank you, sir, for this opportunity, and I hereby present myself to be screened and to be considered for confirmation as the Chief of Naval Staff of Nigeria. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Distinguished Senate President, sir, distinguished senators, if confirmed by this distinguished Senate and given the uncommon mandate to lead the Nigerian Army during this period, I shall do my best to justify the confidence reposed in me by His Excellency, the Commander-in-Chief, and the larger Nigerian society. In line with the directive of the Senate President, I will not take time to introduce myself. I was born on 28 February 1968 in Ilobu, Osun State. Admitted into the Nigerian Defense Academy on 12 September 1987 as a member of the 39th Regular Course and commissioned into the Corps of Infantry. In the course of my military career, I've attended courses commensurate to my rank and garnered experience along the line.
On assumption of office as the acting Chief of the Air Staff on the 19th of June 2023, I reiterated my commitment to reinvigorating our fight against terrorism, insurgency, and other security threats facing our dear nation. Bearing in mind the huge investment by the government, a lot is expected on the Nigerian Air Force to deliver on its mandate and ensure peace returns to troubled spots in the country. It is on this premise that we intend to provide justification to government for the support we are enjoying so far, and even as the rebuilding efforts continues. Therefore, though our ultimate focus will remain our war-fighting capability, immediate steps will be taken to institute the NAF as relevant to government's everyday peacetime development efforts as possible. My military career started about 32 years ago as a boy soldier in Nigerian military schools area. However, I have served as an officer in the Nigerian Air Force for over 3 decades, during which I have served in all strata of command, administrative, instructional appointments, starting from admin officer, officer commanding officer. I was also a team leader in the United Nations peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Through all these years and these appointments, I have learned a lot. I've seen successes, I've also seen setbacks, but these have given me a broad outlook on how to go about leading a fighting force like the Nigerian Air Force. Distinguished senators, ladies and gentlemen,
my experiences as a military officer shaped my unshakable faith in our country, the unlimited power in its unity and greatness of its people. My belief in country equally informed my participation in rebranding of the Nigerian project in 2009, where my submission came in second. Let me place on record that the Nigerian military remains grateful to the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for their critical role over the years in provisioning for our uniform in men in uniform. Under my watch, the armed forces shall continue to serve the Nigerian people dutifully and in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and other extant provisions of the laws of the Federation. I thank you all for the privilege of addressing you in this hallowed chamber this morning. The Senate President, sir, distinguished senators, I now most respectfully present myself for your screening and seek your subsequent confirmation of my appointment as the Chief of Defense Staff of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much, sir.
President Bola Tinubu had earlier in the week sought Senate's confirmation of Major General Christopher Musa as Chief of Defense Staff, Major T.A. Lagbaja as Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral Kechukwu Ogala as Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal H.B. Abubakar as Chief of Air Staff. The service chiefs are expected to brief the upper legislative chamber on the strategies to tackle insecurity across the country. Another top event at both chambers of the National Assembly recently is appointments of principal officers. For the Red Chamber, President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, at resumed plenary, announced Senator Bamidele, representing Ekiti Central, as the Senate Majority Leader. For the full list of all principal officers for the Senate wing, we have President of the Senate now on the mic.
The Senate leader is Senator Bamidele. He will be the majority leader of the Senate and the Senate leader. Senator Mohammed Ali Ndume will be the chief whip of the 10th Senate. Senator David Umahi, by your consent, will act as the deputy leader, and Senator Oyorola Isha Ashiru will be the deputy chief whip.
Senator Akpabio also announced leadership of senators in the minority. A PDP senator representing Plateau North Senatorial District, Senator Nwankwo Devoe, is the minority leader as announced by Senator Akpabio. Here also is the complete list of all members of the minority leadership as announced by the President of the Senate.
The majority of members of the minority caucus of the Senate, made up of about 7 political parties, have come up with their leadership. So I will just proceed to announce. Senator Simon Davo Nwakwom, minority leader. Distinguished Senator Oyewumi Olarere, deputy minority leader. Distinguished Senator Darlington Wokocha, minority whip. Distinguished Senator Rufai Hanga, deputy minority whip.
Thank you, Mr. President, and to thank all our distinguished colleagues for the opportunity and special privilege or extended privilege granted us to serve in this position, and to assure all of you, on behalf of all of us, that by the grace of God, we'll take this as an assignment that deserves serious attention, and we'll give it our best. Once again, we thank you so much, Mr. President, and our distinguished colleagues.
Distinguished colleagues, I wish to also lend my voice to the appreciation given by the leader of the Senate, to extend our gratitude to Mr. President and our dear colleagues for finding us worthy to be first among equals, and to thank you also for the support that you've granted us. We want to assure you that we are going to be your servants, and that we are going to work as a team to move Nigeria forward. The emergence of the minority leadership is not to wage war with the leadership of the National Assembly, but to be partners in progress, to see to the success, the growth, development of this country. We work as a team, but we also stand on our rights as minorities, and we hope that the uncommon Senate President would always listen to our plight as minorities. Thank you for the opportunity, and we pray for your success. May God bless you.
From the Green Chamber, the Speaker, Mr. Tajuddin Abbas, starting with letter from the minority caucus, announced a PDP lawmaker from Rivers, Mr. Kingsley Chinda, as minority leader of the 10th House. Here is the full list as presented by the Speaker.
According to the resolution of the minority caucuses, sharing the 4 minority positions among the 3 of the minority parties with the highest number of members, we wish to formally notify the House that the minority leaders nominated the following people. Number 1, Honorable Kingsley Chinda has been nominated as the minority leader and is from the party PDP extraction. Number 2, is Honorable Ali Isa JC, PhD, as the minority whip, also from the PDP. We have number 3, Honorable Ali Hussain Madaki, Guinea, as Deputy Minority Leader from the NNPP. Last but not the least is Honorable Ozidonabi George Ebize Mao as Deputy Minority Whip from Labour Party. Attached are the signatures of majority members of these caucuses. And honorable colleagues, for those of us who may want to see the endorsement made by our members here, I will give the clerk of the House to keep the records of those who signed on behalf of all the 4 nominees from each of the parties. So permit me, honorable colleagues, to congratulate the 4 persons who have been nominated as leaders of the minority. And it is my wish and prayer that God will be their guide and will give them the wisdom to lead transparently and justly. Honorable leaders, my congratulations to all of you.
The Speaker, while also reading the letter from the leadership of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, named a member from Edo State, Professor Julius Ihonvbere, as the leader of the majority. For a complete list of all lawmakers forming the majority leadership, the Speaker to the mic.
The next announcement, honorable colleagues, is from APC, and it is also on a related subject matter. And the letter read as follows. That the undersigned members of All Progressive Congress, caucus of the 10th House of Representatives, hereby endorsed the following people. Honorable Julius Ihonvbere, APC Edo, as majority leader. Honorable Halims Abdullahi, APC Kogi, as Deputy Majority Leader. Honorable Usman Bello Kumo, APC Gombe, as Chief Whip. And last but not the least, Honorable Adeomi Oriomi Onanuga, APC Ogun, as Deputy Chief Whip. The endorsement of these 4 people was backed by the signatures of 143 APC members. So, honorable colleagues, again permit me to congratulate our new leaders with the prayer for the Almighty Allah to guide and give them strength and wisdom as they take realms of the leadership of the 10th Assembly. Thank you, honorable colleagues. Leaders, please take your seats. Take your seats, please. Honorable colleagues, please get seated. Get seated, please.
Congratulations to all announced principal officers for the 2 chambers of the National Assembly. Now, aside formation of leadership at the 2 chambers, the complex has been quite busy for lawmakers. At the House alone, around 30 motions on different subjects had been considered and adopted. We will be highlighting some top ones on the program today. One of the top motions at the House for the week is need to recharge and restore Lake Chad, standing in the name of Mr. Ahmed Munir.
The House notes, once a lifeline for millions of people in the Sahel region, Lake Chad, in correlation with the largest endorheic basin in Africa, has been rapidly shrinking over time due to climate change and unsustainable water management practices. Concerned that the shrinking of the lake has led to severe consequences on economic opportunities, causing displacement of millions of people who are now living in poverty and facing the threat of heightened security risks and extremism with both national and international ramifications. Cognizant that restoring the lake will not only help provide fishing and other aquatic resources industry, but also open up new opportunities for enhanced national security, food security, agriculture, tourism, improve urban water supply, restore moribund irrigation schemes, and other economic activities, improving the livelihoods of millions in the region and beyond.
The House, in adopting this motion, among other resolutions, urged the federal government to kickstart a high-level diplomatic engagement for regional cooperation amongst the 5 member countries that constitute the Lake Chad Basin Commission: Nigeria, Niger, Chad, Cameroon, and the Central African Republic, to serve as bedrock for further international cooperation. The House, in adopting another motion in the name of Mr. Gaza Gwefi and 3 other lawmakers, called on the federal government to construct the Lafia, Doma, Rutu Bassa, Rafin Gabas Nasarawa Orozo Road.
The House also notes that the road section, which takes off from Lafia Makodi Road within Lafia Township, the capital of Nasarawa State, transverses through several towns and communities in Doma, Kokona, and Nasarawa local government areas of Nasarawa State. It also transverses Orozo and several other settlements in the Kachi Area Council of the FCT, providing access to these communities that rely on it for the transportation of goods and services. The House notes that the importance of the road cannot be overemphasized, as it serves as a major link between Nasarawa State and other parts of the country. And one key socio-economic benefit of the road is the shorter, easier, and less risk-prone access to the FCT for all commuters coming through Benue State from the southeast and or south-south geopolitical zones of the country. The proverbial daily traffic gridlock experienced from Masaka and Maraba of Nasarawa State to Nyanya and AYA of the FCT will and would become history. The House, aware that the construction of the proposed new road will provide access to and from Abuja Airport through Apo, bypassing the present congested route, also aware that the new access route will serve as an economic boost for commuters and aid the transportation of agricultural produce from the North Central, Southeast, and South-South regions to FCT and beyond. The construction of this new road network will serve as a catalyst for economic growth, reduce negative environmental impacts, and improve the overall standard of living of the host communities and the state in general. The House acknowledged that the road is not only crucial to the economic development of the state, it also ensures the safety and security of the people who depend on it due to proximity to the nation's capital. The House is concerned that further neglect by the federal government of such an important and strategic project will not only continue to cause significant hardship to the people of Nasarawa State, but negatively affect economic activities, as the current access route to the FCT leads to massive loss of man-hour due to long traffic delays, high transportation costs, and loss of valuable goods in transit.
The need to harness potentials in the maritime sector for economic growth and revive the abandoned Osakwa seaport at Ihiala local government area in Anambra State, moved by Mr. Pascal Agbodike, is one of the motions adopted by the House.
Concerned that the abysmal neglect of the sector has both its potential to create jobs and contribute to the country's GDP are lost. Just as foreign operators smile home with billions of dollars yearly that could have accrued to the local operators and government coffers.
The House also adopted a motion on need to introduce leadership training in the curriculum of primary and tertiary schools in Nigeria, standing in the name of Mr. Ujuawo Adeniyi.
I want the House to be cognizant of the roles of leadership training in promotion of selflessness, nationalism, patriotism, and especially in keeping with the global best practices. I'm concerned that the continued absence of leadership training in Nigerian schools is depriving the Nigerian child the opportunity to internalize the core values of leadership at earliest possible stage and make it a part of their value for the benefit and betterment of our country, Nigeria.
One other top motion on the floor of the House within the week is call to investigate alleged manipulation of Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME by the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board JAMB by Ms. Ejikeme Mesoma. This motion, in the name of ranking member from Cross Rivers, Mr. Awaji Ihonvbere Abiante, was greeted with some amendments and support. We have here first the lawmaker, then other lawmakers on the motion.
The House is aware that Ms. Ejikeme Mesoma of the Anglican Girls Secondary School in Anambra State sat for the 2023 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations. The House is also aware that on the 2nd of July 2023, the board, through the head of Public Affairs and Protocol, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, made a public pronouncement accusing Ms. Ejikeme Mesoma of having manipulated the results of her UTME, claiming to have scored 362 as against 249. The House is further aware that Ms. Ejikeme Mesoma came out to defend herself, that she actually printed the result from the JAMB portal. The House is cognizant of the fact that uploading or downloading results of examinations or even polls electronically, as it concerns our claim, could have glitches occurring within the system. Hence, there is a need to establish the facts to protect the integrity of the examination board and indeed the educational standards in this country. Worried that Dr. Fabian Benjamin of JAMB, head of Public Affairs and Protocols, alleged that some of the 2023 UTME candidates are parading already fake scores in order to get undue advantage from the public, there is a need to conduct a comprehensive investigation to safeguard the system and its integrity. Mr. Speaker, if we allow that institution to so reduce itself, no matter the circumstance, Mr. Speaker, it was an open challenge to our educational system and standard. I have watched, painfully so, sir, someone from the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board ascribing to itself the powers to accuse, the powers to investigate, and the powers to even prefer punishments without giving opportunities for fair hearing. Mr. Speaker, I have only come because I know that the person in question does not have the opportunity to sit here with us to be heard. She may also not have the opportunity to convoke press conferences like JAMB is trying to do. Mr. Speaker, this is the parliament of the people. It is our responsibility to protect those who cannot protect themselves, especially so that this person in question is a minor. It is our responsibility, Mr. Speaker. I urge all concerned to stand up to protect the weak. Democracy and governance guarantees that the strong will always protect and defend the weak.
1 minute, Honorable Abiante. 1 minute more.
I do not want to preempt whatever we will do at the end of the day. Mr. Speaker, it is a call to protect one of us, to protect a Nigerian, no matter the color, no matter the creed, no matter the tribe, no matter the religion. We have sworn our oath to so do. Mr. Speaker, that is why I am standing before all of us to make this presentation. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Mr. Speaker, the amendment is as follows: to urge JAM and all other relevant agencies to desist from any further actions until the investigations by the ad hoc committee is concluded. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
It is rather unfortunate for JAM and rather unfortunate for this young girl. Mr. Speaker, right here, I generated the same result on the platform of JAM this girl generated with some colleagues, my colleagues here. It's an IT issue. Some criminals created an app, and I will share it with my colleagues, so that they will find out this girl was manipulated by some adults, some individuals, in order to take advantage of our talent to cash on the privileges that comes with the highest score in JAM examination. Once you open the app, you will see everything about JAM. Then you see columns that are blank where you can put the points and hit, and you get the result.
Mr. Speaker, I was privy to watch a video.
Please, leader, approach the chair.
I was privy to watch a video where a lady was demonstrating how to manipulate JAM result slip directly from JAM website. Mr. Speaker, the question.
Leader, approach the chair.
Is it that JAM website is so porous that one can go to a business center, sit down, and start manipulating results and printing it out? Mr. Speaker, honestly, this is so shameful that the ones preceded JAM have reduced themselves to a point that they will be dragging the authenticity of their result with a candidate. Mr. Speaker, while looking at it, I wish, by the way of amending this motion, Mr. Speaker, that the ad hoc committee that will be set up will not look at the prayers they have said, but also go into the cases of special centers. You hear people say it's called special center, both in JAM, in WAEC, and some examination council boards in our country. So it is good for this ad hoc committee, Mr. Speaker, to as well extend their investigation, not only to this one story, Mr. Speaker, but to the issue of special centers. Why must we identify some examination centers as special?
And I totally agree with the prayers in this motion. However, I want to sound a note of warning concerning our comments on this floor. We must, as parliamentarians who has the power under the Constitution to investigate all agencies of government. In doing that, Mr. Speaker, referring to this case, with respect to this case, we must presume innocence on the part of the girls. At the same time, we must presume or assume that the JAMB has acted pursuant to the law establishing them, given to them by the act of this parliament. An act of this parliament gave them those powers. We must presume that too.
The House, in adopting the motion, set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the matter and to report back within 1 week for further legislative action.
Ad hoc committee to investigate alleged manipulation of Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, by the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB. The chairman of this committee is no other person than our own well-experienced ranking member, honorable member, Honorable Sada Soli is the chairman of this committee and will be supported by the following members: Honorable Abiante Awaji, Honorable Professor Lillian, Honorable Professor Namji, Honorable Engineer Remi Oseni, Honorable Dennis Idahosa, Honorable Fulata, Honorable Kuye, Honorable Anderson Allison, Honorable Agocha, Honorable Paul Gowan, Honorable Dennis Abo, and Honorable Rodney E.A. While the leader of the House is getting ready to move for the adjournment of today's plenary, let me express my thanks.
Another motion that received overwhelming support of members is on the need to investigate alleged mismanagement of personnel recruitment, employment racketeering, and gross mismanagement of the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System (IPPIS) and the federal ministries, departments, and agencies, MDAs, parastatals, and tertiary institutions. This was moved by a member from Osun State, Mr. Oluwole Oke.
The process of recruiting and employment into the civil service has become one that is fraught with endemic corruption. Public institutions have since stopped the process of advertising for jobs and vacancies. Even in the few instances, Mr. Speaker, where adverts are published, the slots are already commoditized and available for the highest bidders. In other words, most public institutions now sell employment positions, Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the qualification of the applicant and the ability of the applicant to perform optimally on the job. Further note, Mr. Speaker, this poses a major risk and has indeed constituted itself into a channel for the underperformance of Nigerian public service. Worried that as things stand now, the federal government is not getting value for money. Rather, it is losing both in quality, quantity, and substance across the recruitment and payment of personnel. Even more worrisome is that some staff members that have been legitimately employed have not received salaries for months and years, despite the fact that they were recruited legally into the federal civil service. Concerned that if urgent steps are not taken to investigate these issues, the morale of civil servants will be completely dampened. The federal government will continue to lose billions in payments, in monthly payments to ghost workers, and illegal payments, and the nation will continue to bleed, to be serviced by unqualified workers, trooping into various sectors within the federal civil service.
An ad hoc committee to carry out the investigation has 4 weeks for the task.
This ad hoc committee will cut across the entire states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria because of the scope of this particular responsibility, and also to create a sense of inclusion by members of this House who are eager to start working even before the Standard Committee's list is presented. Abia, we have Amo Bioga. Edo, we have Odi Okojie, Ogun Abiodun Akinlade, Akwa Ibom Clement Jimbo, Cross River Alex Ebuna, Kogi Zakaria David, Imo Ikenga Ugochinyene, Bauchi Sani Ibrahim Tanko, Taraba Maxwell Useni, Delta Iratake Ibori Suenu, Borno Ibrahim Buka, Gombe Dr. Paul Shehu Obed, Plateau Peter Ibrahim Gwendeng, Yobe Jajere, Honorable Jajere, Oyo Honorable Olaide Latif Muhammad, Ondo Honorable Odumayo, Oshun Honorable Taufik Ajilesoro, Lagos Honorable Paul Kalijai, Adamawa Honorable Kobis Timnu, FCT Honorable Joshua Obiora, Kaduna Honorable Jalo Husseini, Kanu Honorable Gaba Diso, Anambra Honorable Dominic Okafor, Ebonyi Honorable Chinedu Oga.
Now, House also, while considering another motion, resolved to stop the ceding of Danare and Biajua communities in Boki local government area of Cross River State of Nigeria to the Republic of Cameroon. This followed the unanimous adoption of a motion jointly sponsored by members of the House from Cross River. Mr. Victor Bissong presented a motion on behalf of others.
According to the Anglo-German agreement of the Cameroon-Nigerian boundary of 12 April 1913, a total of 14 boundary pillars from the Lake Chad region, that is in Yola Adamawa State, to Agbokom in a Tung local government of Cross River State, planted by the Anglo-German, have serial numbers written on the pillars. 6 of the boundary pillars fall within the Danare community in Boki local government of Cross River State. The international boundary includes pillar 109 to pillar 113A. Further notes that the Anglo-German treaty clearly states that the contextual pillar 113A is 9.6 kilometers from pillar 113 into the forest leading to pillar 114 that fall in Agbokom in a Tung local government. I am worried that the JTT has not located pillar 113A and not tracing pillar 113A. They are planning to adopt a straight line method which will lead to losing Danare and Biada communities and about 7,000 to 10,000 hectares of land in Boki local government of Cross River State to the Republic of Cameroon. Also notes that the ICJ judgment adopted the Anglo-German boundary of 1913 as a boundary between the two countries. The job of the CMCC through the JTT, therefore, was to locate this boundary and reinforce it to certainty. Under the principles of federalism, natural justice, and equity, the federal government has a responsibility to protect the territorial integrity of all federating units and not unilaterally cede, sell, mortgage, or allocate any part of federating unit to another country without the consent of this House.
Here are some other top motions considered and adopted by lawmakers on the floor of the Green Chamber. Need to contain the spread of diphtheria disease across states. The House, in adopting the motion, asked the Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) and the Federal Ministry of Health to effectively maintain the outbreak of diphtheria and reduce the fatality ratio in confirmed cases. A member from Kwara State, Mr. Mukhtar Shagaya, moved the motion.
The House notes there has been a sporadic increase in the number of diphtheria cases in Nigeria since the beginning of the year 2023. 21 out of 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory have witnessed a total of 557 cases based on recent reports of the World Health Organization. The House is aware that since the outbreak of diphtheria, about 75 deaths have been recorded in 21 states, with the recent death being that of a 4-year-old boy here in the Federal Capital Territory.
Some other motions bordering on security and general state of the nation were considered and adopted on the floor of the House within the week. That's the program for this week. Next week is a deal. Do join us then at 8 p.m. I am ROSEMARYUKOKO-TEGA. Bye-bye.